हरे कृष्ण। ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. Sati, she actually Daksha, he performs tapasya to Mother Durga, and she blesses him that you will have me as your daughter and Lord Shiva as your son-in-law. And she also warns him that if you anytime displease me, then I am going to live. So I will end up my life. Would show any kind of disrespect to her, she will end her life. And then she is born to Daksha. And when she came to marriage village, and Daksha was worried, and Sati understood the reason behind her father's worry. She went to her mother, and then she expressed her desire to perform to marry Lord Shiva. And her mother made all the arrangements. And then she performed Nandivardhana austerity for 1 year. And he then, being impressed by her austerities, all the deities descended down from heaven to see her. And then what happens is they all the deities they bless. The sages requested Lord Shiva to get married, but Lord Shiva did not want to curtail his freedom by getting married. So when the deities insisted, he told them to find a suitable match that time. So then this is two pastimes, like when Parvati was marrying Lord Shiva also. So both the times Lord Shiva was not in. Of course, here when Sati, there are other details also. We will come to that point. So we'll just continue here that how by Sati's desire only, and she performed austerity to get Lord Shiva. Her name itself is Sati. That means she is the most chaste. And after that, when she entered, why? Because any insult to her husband, she could not tolerate. That's why she is called Sati. She is the most chaste, most loyal to her husband compared to any other personalities. Just insult to her husband also cannot be tolerated. Others also are sati only, but they they leave the body when the husband leaves the body. But in case of sati, even insult also she could not take it. So she is considered that way. So previously, the Daksha, he created qualities only. All Daksha's daughters are qualities, and the last daughter is the quality of chastity, and that's why it is considered the most of all the qualities. This is the most important quality for a woman, and that's why she is given so much value. And here we are discussing that, yeah, so Daksha, influenced by his personal body luster, all the fire gods and all other participants in that great assembly, with the exception of Lord Brahma and Shiva, gave up their own seating place and stood in respect for Daksha. So it's really work very hard to get a position. So to get a material position of that caliber like Daksha, one need to be really working very hard. So like now say if Prime Minister of India is coming, so all the people who are in India, they'll they will get up and show him respect. Except for President and Vice President, everybody gets up. That is expected that they get up and show respect to him. So now he reached that post because he worked very hard, materially worked very hard, and because of that credits, he is in that post. And everybody appreciates whatever contribution he's doing for the country and to the world, and then they give him respect. So similarly here, when Daksha came, they appreciated his contribution because he performed such great austerities, pleased the Lord. Lord empowered him to create qualities And that's the reason. So Daksha was adequately welcomed by the president of the great assembly, Lord Brahma. After offering Lord Brahma respect, Daksha, by the order of Brahma, properly took his seat. So even Brahma also, at least by words, he appreciated Lord Shiva. He did not get up, but he appreciated. And then Daksha goes to Brahma. Brahma welcomes him, and Daksha offers his obeisances to Brahma and goes and sits. But before taking his seat, however, Daksha was very much offended to see Lord Shiva sitting and not showing him any respect. And this is actually what makes him upset. So we discuss this point also. So there is one more important thing, because if this is very nicely arranged, the cantos of Bhagavatam, the lessons are also nicely given. So if we see the third canto, where Kapil Dev, he is explaining to Mother Devhuti when she asked how to make progress. That time he gives few shlokas where he says that there are different degrees of offenses. Four stages he gives actually. That any person who expresses respect to me in relation with him is very respectful. And there he says that there are four stages and 4 degrees of Matsarya. And this is a very important understanding. And how is that? Uh, we will just go through 1 2 degrees of Matsarya. So here it is explained that Daksha is in the fourth stage of offenses. And okay, I will just come to that point before. So here before and all sages, Brahmanas and fire gods present, please hear me attention, for I speak about the manners of a gentle person. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy. So Shiva, he says, has spoiled the name of and fame of governors of the universe. And then he says that he has already accepted himself as my subordinate by marrying my daughter in the presence of fire and Brahmanas. He has married my daughter, who is equal to Gayatri, and was pretended to be just like an honest person. He has eyes like a monkey. At he was married my daughter, whose eyes were just like the deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. So now he says that I didn't had any desire. So here this is very important. He said that I had no desire to give my daughter to this person who has broken all rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations, he is impure. But I am obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just as one teaches the message of Vedas to Shudra. So we are discussing that why Shudras are not allowed to learn the Vedic knowledges, because they are not qualified. See, when it comes to Kshatriyas, like this is a very important incident that happened in Mahabharata. Dronacharya did not want to train Ekalavya. He happened to be Nishada, is aborigines. Now, then he goes, he makes effigy of Dronacharya and then he practices with it. And he learns also. And then when Dronacharya sees that this person learned, he says, you give your thumb. So if you give your thumb, you cannot practice archery. You will be invalid in that way. And then people will criticize, "Arey, how Dronacharya, he is taking away his ability to perform archery, even though he didn't train him also." He said, "Okay, give Gurdakshina. If you learn from me, give Gurdakshina, cut your thumb." Actually, Dronacharya is protecting him because he will commit more of sins and then he will end up in hell. That's the point. Like now, when it comes to Kshatriyas, they need to display their chivalry in front of the people so that they will develop confidence and faith. Okay, he is very chivalrous. This king will protect me. If any danger comes to the country or me, I have a person whom I can take shelter. That's the reason they have to show. Like in any country, like on their Independence Day or Republic Day, especially in India, the Republic Days, they display their military powers. They show different army people, they come, they perform various activities, and then they show their latest weaponry, military equipments, and all. Why they want to show? Because they want to give confidence to the country that okay, we are sufficiently equipped to handle our country's protection and defense and everything, and no need to worry so much. So they want to give confidence. So similarly, if there will be regularly some display by Kshatriyas to give the citizens the confidence. So here also the same thing happens, that when Pandavas, they were displaying their valor and everything. The time Karna comes and Kripacharya asks, "Tell me your birth." If you're not Kshatriya, then that's not a point, because we don't want to see chivalry from others, because it is meant for purpose. Now there may be a question that Are Ekalavya is not qualified, but Duryodhana and Dusyasana and other personalities are also having bad qualities. Why they are given the knowledge? The point there is because they are born of a Kshatriya race, they were given an opportunity to behave nicely and properly. That is expected. Of course, they didn't choose to behave nicely, that is their fault. But they were having more opportunity, and of course, Duryodhana and was also able to rule to a greater extent. That's why if you see, he is able to mobilize such a big army, and so many people were ready to die for him. That means he's a good leader. He is having demonic mentality, but as a leader, he is having people, he is able to influence people and have people under him. And not only just under him, who are ready to die for him. See, whoever came for the battle, who are fighting on Duryodhana's side, that is very clear that they are going to die. Or at least there is always a risk for life if you are participating in a war. Now, why he is doing? Because he was a good leader. So that's the point. Of course, his qualities are very bad. As a diplomat, he is very good diplomat. So the point what I'm telling is he has that qualities, but somehow he misused it. So Dronacharya, he did not teach Eklavya, but he taught Dushadumna, who is supposed to kill him in the future. He said, "Okay, anyway, I'm going to die. So why I should not do my duty? And this boy is a qualified boy to gain the military knowledge, so I should give him." So in that way, he gave to Dushadumna all the military knowledge, and so that's the point. So the message, just as one teaches message to the Vedas to the Shudras, we should know that to protect them from misusing. That's the main thing. And nowadays, all of them, they know the knowledge. And if you see what is the result, they only misuse it and misquote it. And people are living such a superficial life that they don't understand anything. What is the purpose of life, anything? Because they feel they know everything. And you just have to go to Google and then he search. And Google will tell you anything and everything. So I don't need of help of anyone. I know everything. And now we have many other AI tools, Chat GPT, and now some new things have come, which are creating some revolutions. Now what is happening is you don't need all these things, but people are understanding that information is actually what makes me happy. No, transformation makes us happy, and transformation comes when you do properly with respect. So Daksha had the same problem. He is not getting transformation. He has so much information. He committed offense. Of course, Daksha has so much realization. He's not a ordinary soul. He's a very special personality. And all the qualities which we are talking about, which we want to develop, are our daughters of Daksha only. So that means a great personality. But at that level also, of course, at this level, the fighting is between the gunas only. They're very great fight. And always there is a fight in gunas. Like say, we are all trying for world peace. How can there be world peace? There cannot be world peace because there will be always fight between the modes. And it happened from the beginning of creation. Daksha, Shiva fighting, and demons and demigods they are fighting. And now we see here also so many religious fights, this fight, that fight. It's always modes, and they always fight. Not a issue. So here it is given Shudra due to his unclean habit, he is not worthy to hear such instructions. This restriction that unless one has acquired the Brahminical qualification, one should not treat Vedic criticism like the restriction that the law student should not enter the law college unless he has been graduated from lower grades. So that's actually the point. And this also we discussed. He lives in filthy places like crematoriums, and his companions are the ghosts and demons, naked like a madman, sometimes laughing and sometimes crying. He smears cremation ashes all over his body. He does not bathe regularly and is ornamented with body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, only in name he is Shiva or auspicious. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature. Thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in gross mode of ignorance, and he is their leader. So here also another point is that Lord Shiva is doing it, not that he is getting affected by it, he is doing it to show compassion, to make these Tamoguna people that I am part of you. And then they come and take shelter, all the demons and all such low consciousness living entities. They all get shelter with Lord Shiva. He's a very compassionate person. He wanted to support. Everybody needs support. Even the demons need. Then what the Lord does? He manifests as Lord Shiva to do that job. And then he says, on the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid of all cleanness and his heart is filled with nasty things. So it is a duty of parent to hand over their daughter to suitable person, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. And Daksha is not wrong in one level that he is seeing the externals only, and externals, whatever he told is right only about Lord Shiva. What he didn't understand about Lord Shiva is his transcendental position, because Daksha is a typical materialistic view, and materialistic person he only sees the externals. And Daksha first is ignorance and then asmita. Avidya, asmita. Asmita means bodily identification. And that is the cause of all the offenses. We are doing bhakti. See, when we are doing bhakti, we are at that is a spiritual activity. But unfortunately, we are having asmita because of avidya. Ignorance, there is asmita means we strongly identify ourselves with the body. That is the reason we commit offenses. Spiritual practice is transcendental. Our consciousness is bhakti is actually meant for consciousness. It's not changing externals. It's very important. We are also chanting some very exalted personality, like Raghunath Das Goswami is chanting. What is the difference? Activity looks same. What changes? Consciousness changes. When people are practicing bhakti, they have this question that, Are so many years I'm practicing, why there is no change? Because it is practiced very consciously. This is the most important instruction. So if you are practicing consciously, then the changes happen. Like bhakti is not a part-time job. Like say if you go to yoga practices, you do 2 hours pranayama or this asana, that asana, and after that you have your own time. But bhakti is a 24 by 7 job. It's not part-time job. Whole day we have to do bhakti. It's not that okay, 22 hours bhakti, 2 hours rest. No, no, no. That is the wrong understanding. All the time we are devotee of Krishna only whole day. We don't do separately anything for like job. That's the point. Like people they say that okay, you do some activity, offer results Krishna. But we don't do in bhakti like that. We are 24 by 7 engaged in Krishna service. Even if we are taking rest in the night, we want to take rest because we want to continue serving Krishna. I need some rest as a service for Krishna only. Because if I take rest, I can do more nice service. So I'll take rest. And morning I wake up, I do Mangalarti, I chant, I cook something, I do some offering to deities, and then I speak about Krishna, I discuss about Krishna, and I work for Krishna to get some money so that I can serve Krishna in a much better way. So all the things 24 by 7 we are only connected to Krishna only. That means consciously we should do. Now because we become unconscious, we are just doing mechanically. Without coming into consciousness only we continue doing. That's why we don't get that benefit what bhakti should come. So this is the problem. It's not changing of externals, it's a change of consciousness. And because of bodily identification, our consciousness is the level of body only, and that causes all the offenses. And here, Daksha is also in that state of bodily identification, which made him commit offenses, even though he is also a devotee. Daksha is also doing all this yajna by Vishnu, for Vishnu only. And he is not worshipping any other demigods also. He is worshipping only one personality. He is worshipping Vishnu. But because of his strong identification with body, Asmita, and that he is not able to see Shiva's glories. And that's the problem. He was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parameshti, the supreme father in the universe. Because of his temperament of gross anger, he was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. In other words, he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent because he had advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such nasty fellow. In anger, one forgets everything, and thus Daksha, in anger, not only accused the great Lord Shiva, but criticized his own father, Lord Brahma, for his not very astute advice that Daksha hand over his daughter to Lord Shiva. So here, Daksha is so much identifying with his body, and because of his bodily identification, is not able to see the transcendental position of Lord Shiva. He's saying Shiva is all these things, and then he became upset with his father also, who gave him suggestion to do get this marriage. मैत्रेयवाच विनिन्द्यैवं स गिरिशम् अप्रतीपम् अवस्थितं दक्षोऽताप उपस्पृश्य क्रुद्धा सप्तुम प्रचक्रमे. The sage Maitreya continued, thus Daksha, seeing Lord Shiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth and cursed him in the following words. So these people they always carry kamandalu, some water with them, great personalities, and when they come for sacrifice, you regularly have to wash, do achaman and get purified. So he was having. Immediately he just took water, washed his hands, and everybody was seeing, they all knowing what Daksha is doing. Ayam tu deva yajana indropendradirbhavah sahabhagam nalabatam devair devagu ganadama. The demigods are eligible to share in the oblation of sacrifice. But Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all demigods, should not have a share. And Shiva is very happy. Prabhupada writes, because of his curse, Shiva was deprived of his share in oblations of Vedic sacrifice. It was due to the curse of Daksha, Sri Vishnu Chakrata comments in the connection, that Lord Shiva was saved from the calamity of taking part with other demigods who were all materialistic. He's he don't get it, and that's good also. Lord Shiva need not come every time to sit with all these demigods. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Supreme Lord and is not fitting for him to sit and eat or sit with the materialistic persons like demigods. Thus, the curse of Daksha was indirectly a blessing for Shiva. So you need not go and every time you call. And Prabhupada gives this is a practical example set by for us by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who used to sit on the side of a lavatory to chant Hare Krishna. Many materialistic persons used to come and bother him and disturb his daily routine of chanting. So, to avoid their company, he used to sit by the side of a train where materialistic persons would not go because of filth and obnoxious smell. However, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was so great that he was accepted as the spiritual master of such a great personality as His Divine Grace Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva behaved in his own way to avoid materialistic persons who might disturb him in his persecution of devotional service. So this is like brahmacharis, they don't get much invitation in the family functions. So in that way, they are also saved. Like in my family, I hardly went for any marriages. Nobody calls that. They know. I didn't attend any of my cousin's marriage. Nobody invited me. I was like very fortunate in that way because you can avoid all this materialistic association because you can have one nice reason to say, oh, he's in ashram now, he's a brahmachari. So this is a advantage for not being with that. And Lord Shiva also can say now any demigods they call for the sacrifice and all. Lord Shiva says, oh, no, 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 I am not actually qualified to take anything because I got curse from Daksha. So they also say, okay, anyway, he will not come. He cannot take it also. So why to invite him? Lord Shiva is very happy. He can do his own chanting, hearing, reading, sadhana nicely. Of course, for Lord Shiva is directly meditating on Lord. So that is the point. निषिध्यमानः स सदस्य मुख्यैर्दक्षो गिरित्राय विसृज्य शापम् तस्माद्विनिष्क्रम्य जगाम कुर्वाय निजं निकेतनम्. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, in spite of the request of all members of sacrificial assembly, Daksha in great anger cursed Lord Shiva and left the assembly and went back to home. So even Brahma might have told. Anger is so detrimental that even great personality Daksha out of anger left the arena where Brahma was presiding and all great sages and pious saintly persons were assembled. This is really very, very upset Daksha that some insult happened to him. So because I got insulted, I am not going to stay in this place. And this happens also. If somebody is insulted, they leave the place immediately because they cannot tolerate how I can be insulted. And Daksha, he could have understood, or a great sages are there, and Brahma is personally there. I cannot live like this. But Daksha could not uh, do that much also. So all of them requested him not to leave, but infuriated, he left thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. Puffed up by his exalted position, he thought that no one was greater than he in argument. It appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and leave their company. So even Brahma also requested. But in spite of all these requests, he left. This is the effect of cruel anger. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha. The very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities, but still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly personality as Shiva, he was attacked by these three elements: anger, lust, and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offense towards a Vaishnava to a mad elephant. A mad elephant can do anything horrible. So when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action. This is a very instruction. And this, upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present. Therefore, there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words. Actually, this is uh, proper only in one level, not completely proper, but Nandishwara tolerating is also not correct. There is a long-standing decision between some of the neophyte Vaishnavas and Shaivites. They are always at logger's heads. When Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words, some of the Brahmanas present might have enjoyed it because some Brahmanas do not very much admire Lord Shiva. This is due to their ignorance of Lord Shiva's position. Nandishwara was affected by cursing, but he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could have cursed Daksha in similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandishwara, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult to his master. See, Prabhupada is also telling it's not actually right that Nandishwara tolerate. But he should not have cursed the Brahmanas who were present. He could have acted in a some other way. But it is, if he tolerates, that is also wrong for Nandishwara. He cannot tolerate it, but he should also not against act. He should not curse. The entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their position, and thus cursing and counter cursing went on in that great assembly. In other words, the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishvara, Daksha, and many of the Brahmanas present were inflicted by the atmosphere of anger. So even say they are very great personalities. Prabhupada is mentioning even the personalities like Nandishvara and Daksha means he is keeping them in a higher, very high pedestal. They are very great personalities. But this is the point. What happens is you are in a high position and there is great responsibility, and they cursed counter curse, and we are also paying the price. So they are very special personalities. Okay. Any questions, comments? We will end here. Okay.